welcome to the show. This week is gardening week. We are talking about all the good fruits and veggies and everything that is cropping up. So I wanted to do a delicious veggie side today. And this recipe actually comes from my second cookbook, Well Seasoned. It is from the spring chapter. This whole baby is divided up into the different seasons. So I really wanted to celebrate kind of some classic spring ingredients today. So obviously, we're going with carrots. And these carrots have some excellent, good carrot tops on there too. But with these carrots, we're also gonna celebrate all of the delicious herbs and greens that start popping up as well. So today, we are making my roasted carrots with Greeny goodness. What is Greeny goodness, you ask? You'll find out in a minute. Very excited about it. First up, we need to get to work on our carrots though. So I've got about 8 to 10 medium-sized kind of garden carrots. These are the ones you don't get in that bag, you know, that you get all winter long. Sometimes they're about the size of your forearm and you're like, this carrot has been growing for 87 years. These are young carrots. They're nice and sweet and delicious. And what I like to do with these ones is actually just trim off some of those greens. I'm just gonna trim off just a little bit at the top. And if they are especially dirty around the edge, give them a little bit of a scrub, but you can actually eat these carrot tops. If you want, I know a lot of people like to make a carrot top pesto, make it into kind of like a chutney situation. I'm gonna be honest with you though, I don't do that. I usually pop these into my produce kind of compost bin. I do like the idea of composting, obviously, in your own yard. If you can do that, go for it. If not, just into the green bin and you're good to go. So I've got my carrots here and I'm gonna start peeling these babies up. Do I have a peeler? You know what? I'm not gonna peel them. I'm just kidding. Carrots are giving me the runaround today, let me tell you. If you get a good young carrot, you can actually eat the peel. Just give them a really, really good scrub, and they look beautiful if you leave that on. That's not me just saying that, because I can't find my peeler right now. This is true. I love doing this when people come over. It looks a little more rustic. It's really tasty. Just give them a good scrub with like a potato brush, and you'll be good to go. So I'm gonna pop these carrots onto a sheet pan. If you've got any that are a little bit thick, feel free to cut those in half, but these are around the same size, so they're gonna cook up evenly. Now onto there, I'm gonna add on about a tablespoon of oil. Now the story that I wrote along with these carrots in my cookbook is all about one time when I was a kid, I was really into dressing up. And by dressing up, I mean, yes, for like church and stuff, but also in costumes. And one time my Nana got me a bunny costume. It was around Easter time. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never looked better. I must wear this for the rest of my life. So I had my bunny costume on. My mom brought me to this little fruit and veg stand in Pickering where I grew up. And I refused to take my bunny costume off. And a man gave me a free carrot, like a man who worked there. And I was like, this is the best day of my life. I walked around with that free carrot, loving my life. He didn't peel it though, so I made him go peel it because it was a bigger carrot. I'm not gonna lie. So what I just added onto there though, to give these a little bit of brightness and some like summery, delicious, springy flavor, was about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. You could use any sort of light colored vinegar here. That's just gonna brighten up those carrots as you roast them, make them even sweeter, and just like a little bit of a like, that you don't really know how to put your finger on, but makes them taste amazing. So I'm gonna season those up with a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper on there as well. If you wanted to, you could throw on any sort of spice you want. To be honest, one of my favorite things to go with carrots, cumin. It is actually a relative of carrots. Same with cilantro, things like those. Those flavors are really, really, really tasty with carrots. Give those a little bit of a toss up. There you go. We're having a good day today, everybody. All right. Give those a little bit of a toss just to coat. And then those need to go into a 375-degree oven for about 30 minutes. Those are gonna roast up nice and slow, get caramelized and sweet and even more tender than they already are. And while those do their thing, I'm gonna get to work on that greeny kind of goodness that I call it. Now, this green sauce is a little bit of a riff on a green goddess dressing. If you've ever had green goddess dressing before, it's delicious. First time I ever had it was in New Orleans. I was down there with my mom, classic person to travel to New Orleans with. And it was so tasty, but it was really heavy, really, really heavy. So I wanted to lighten this up a little bit with like more herbs and a little bit of like brightness. So the first thing I'm gonna add in is something green and peppery, and I'm using watercress. If you can find watercress, go for it. You need about a cup. If you can't find watercress, feel free to just use like arugula. Even spinach would work. It's just not gonna be as punchy and peppery. So I'm gonna add that on into my food processor. And then into there, I also need about a 1/4 cup of fresh basil. So I'm gonna start kind of pulling off some leaves. I like to kind of pinch the top leaves. I always feel like I should get the bottoms, but if you pinch the top, it actually gets like bushier and you get more basil plant without it kind of shooting up and starting to flower. So this is what I like to do, you know, pinch it off at a junction point. See these little baby leaves? If I pinch this bit off, those guys are gonna grow into huge, big, delicious basil leaves and grow out and be beautiful. Honestly, I did not think I was gonna give a basil picking lesson today. Feeling good about it. All right, so that's about a 1/4 cup in there. Now I wanna add in more herbs. Just about 2 tablespoons of parsley, but I'm gonna do a Mary Berg 2 tablespoons, which is more like a 1/4 cup. When it comes to fresh herbs, there's nothing wrong with anything. Pop those in. Then I've also got some chives here. I am gonna give them a little bit of a rough chop. Just about 2 tablespoons of those need to go in as well. And then in addition to that, you can really use any sort of fine herb you've got hanging around your house. Even if you didn't have chives, green onions would be delicious. But I'm also gonna add in some dill. Dill and carrots are a match made in heaven. Just about, if we're doing a Mary Berg tablespoon, we're gonna go in with a good amount, but a tablespoon is perfect as well. Toss that in. Then I also want something spicy and bright. So I'm gonna toss in a clove of garlic, just rasped right on over top. Right into there. You can smell all those herbs. It is bright and fresh. And I might hear some of you asking, why are you rasping something that's gonna go into a machine that's job is cutting? But it's because those herbs break down a lot quicker than that garlic, and it can actually sort of bruise those herbs, and we don't want that. So that kind of gets everything incorporated without having to bruise up those herbs too much. So I'm just gonna pulse that, just to chop everything nice and finely. Beautiful. And then into there, I wanna add in the zest and juice of half of a lemon. Again, some brightness. This is kind of my favorite time of year because when winter starts to go away and spring really starts to hit, it's just the tail end of citrus season. So citrus is still beautiful and bright. It just tastes like sunshine. It's almost like the promise of what's to come once it's actually summer. Add in that juice from half of that guy. And then in addition to that, for even more brightness, I'm also gonna toss in a little bit of some Dijon mustard, just about a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I love mustard. It gives, again, that little pop that you're looking for. You're not gonna be able to put your finger on it. For some creaminess, about a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt as opposed to mayonnaise. That's gonna brighten things up, lighten things up as well. And obviously use plain Greek yogurt. Save the vanilla and strawberry for breakfast. It's not what we're looking for in here. All right, then for a little bit of cheese, because I love cheese, a couple tablespoons of soft goat cheese or even some feta would be absolutely amazing in here. Any sort of cheese that's nice and creamy. Give that a little bit of a blitz up. And that is the sauce. It comes together in no time flat. It is delicious. I like mine a little bit on the chunky side. Give it a taste. Oh my gosh. Ooh. That is so good. My carrots are all roasted. So I'm gonna grab my carrots out of the oven, and they are tender and beautiful now. They've cooked down. They look absolutely perfect. Like, look at those. They get even sweeter than they already are. Those with this dressing. So I'm gonna grab that dressing and just pop this down onto a platter. This is how I like to serve it. Anytime I am putting a thicker sauce on something, I always sauce the plate as opposed to the actual like recipe. So pop your sauce down. It always looks cute. If I were to try to pop this on top of those carrots, it would look clumpy and lumpy. We don't want that. Let's pop that down, give it a little bit of a schmear. It's creamy, it's so bright and fresh. It looks like springtime on a plate. Those carrots go over. The little crispy bits at the end are my absolute dream. They're kind of a little like over caramelized. They're gonna taste like a complete dream. And then in addition, obviously you could serve this just like this if you wanted to, but I'm not gonna say no to a little bit of extra cheese on there. And maybe some more of those fresh herbs. Just dot that cheese right on over top. Big chunks, little bit of some dill on there as well. And you, my friend, are celebrating spring in style. All right, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. We gotta take a quick break, but we'll be right back. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.